All right, folks, let's talk some fights. UFC 301 goes down from Brazil. Back for another best bets and a few predictions for your viewing pleasure. Now, UFC 301, not the fight card we expected, but I guess we need a pay-per-view after UFC 300, since UFC 300 we all seemed to love. And you obviously can't stack up against UFC 300 because nothing's going to beat it for the foreseeable future. We've seen these fight night cards come and go over the past couple weeks, and they just lackluster to say the least. And UFC 301, at least we got a title fight on our hands, the flyweight title fight between Alexander Pantoja and Steve Erceg. And then we've got a few other fun fights. The return of Jose Aldo. As I said, it is in Brazil. And we've got some best bets for you. There's a Brazilian in every fight on this card, I believe. Before we get into that, I want to grab a Slappy's vodka soda. We got the lemon flavor here. Lemon Slappy's vodka soda. For my best bets. Make sure you click that like, subscribe, and notification bell right now. Because, when I check the analytics, we see that a ton of my viewers are not subscribed, which means you're finding the videos either through thumbnail or recommended videos. But if you subscribe and click that notification bell, you'll know when these come live. So just do it. Have some fun. We have the betting page over on MMAsucker.com. I'm going to go over the BetMGM, FanDuel, and DraftKings stuff I've done, but let's go over some of the fights on this card and some of the odds. The main event, Alexander Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. As we can see, Erceg just a slight underdog. And I think this is very interesting to say the least. He's not coming into this one as a betting favorite, obviously, because he is the challenger. Sometimes we see the challengers as the favorites. But he's quite new to the UFC. And the fact that we see him as a plus 154... plus 150 or so on most lines is pretty telling that he has something that could give Alexander Pantoja fits. If I were to lay some money on an underdog on this fight card, it would be Steve Erceg. He's got stand-up skills, he's got grappling skills, and I think he has what it takes to get the job done. If you check Full Send MMA, they're following Steve Erceg around this week, and it seems like they really seem to like what he has going on too. He could give Pantoja fits, like I said, but we'll see. In the co-main event, the return of Jose Aldo, a plus 120 underdog against the 6-fight winning streak Jonathan Martinez. Again, this one's a tough one because it's just Jose Aldo. I hate to bet against him. I never want to bet against him, but I'm going to have to bet against him in this one. My prediction is Jonathan Martinez. I don't know if he finishes the fight or not, but I do think he's going to win this and go on a 7-fight streak. Inch that much closer to a title shot. We've then got Anthony Smith against Vitor Petrino, and this one is the most lopsided fight on the card. Smith has not looked great recently. Petrino is undefeated, I believe, at 11-0, and he's above a minus 500 favorite on all the cards. This guy is my lock pick of the night, just because he's that damn good. He finishes fights. He knocks people out. He can submit people as well. And he's taking on an end-of-career Anthony Smith. So he's like on the downside of his fight game. That's about it that I wanted to talk about on this card. Other than, I guess, I'll touch on the Paul Craig Caio Borralho fight. Because Paul Craig is coming into this one as a plus 455 underdog. And I think that the odds on this one are pretty swayed because Craig has a submission game that is tricky to say the least. If you see some of the stuff on Instagram that people are putting out this week and on Twitter about Paul Craig's grappling game, it's not underrated to say the least. It's very high level. He's hit crazy arm bars from crazy positions. The calf slicer that he's hit. He is a guy that's going to, even if he's off of his back, he's dangerous. So taking a stab at a plus 455, plus 450, depending on where you do your bets, I think he could be one that you could lay some money on just if you want to dabble on a big underdog on the card. Now let's move over to MMA Sucka and check out my MMA betting and the stuff that we do. The DraftKings UFC promo, which, as you know, UFC promo, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. This one I went over a few of the fights. I talked about Anthony Smith and Vitor Petrino, and as I said, it's an easy one. Petrino's going to get the job done. I think an underdog pick you could make is in the main event. It's very slight underdog, but in a main event, it could be that Steve Erceg is the new champ. I put out the EA Sports UFC 5 simulation this morning, and Pantoja finished Erceg in the second round. I'm not sure it's going to get done that easily. Pantoja could be called and still champion, but I do think that Erceg has something that could get in the way of Pantoja winning this fight. So that's a guy that, you could dabble some plus money on. FanDuel, UFC promo, bet $5, get $150 bonus bets. As you can see, we got this little promo right here. You can click on that, enter your promo code, and claim it. With FanDuel, I have my locks of the night. As I said earlier, Vitor Petrino. This guy a minus 650 favorite, and even higher on some sports books. But if you can get him lower than that, then I think he's a guy that you might want to drop some money on, because he will likely get in and out of there, and maybe not even picking the straight pick, but he's a lock of my night to finish the fight as well. So if you pick it inside the distance, that is a safe bet as well, in my opinion. And as I say here, I hate to say it, but Jonathan Martinez, I believe, is a lock as well. Riding a 6-fight winning streak and taking on a Jose Aldo who hasn't been in the cage since 2022. And again, a guy who didn't even think that he was going to come back to MMA. I have a tough time picking Jose Aldo, even though I hate to bet against him. And our MGM picks. Get $1,500 in bonus bets. They'll match you. And click in the link right there in that little box. As I said, the current offer for new customers will give you up to $1,500 in bonus bets on your first bet. I went over the main event, co-main event, and the fight below that. And just as I said, Pantoja will likely get the job done in the main event, but Steve Erceg, you might want to, drop a little bit of money on the underdog just to sort of tickle the fancy on a dog. Jonathan Martinez should get the job done in the co-main event. And then, as I said, Vitor Petrino, this guy is going to finish Anthony Smith with inside the distance and will likely earn himself a 12-0 record. Quick, dirty, easy. My best bets, my picks for a few of the fights on the UFC 301 card. That does it for me. I will be back in a few days here. I'm going to the Battlefield Fight League 80 press conference on Sunday to ask some questions to the fighters. It's a stacked card. It goes down next Thursday night on UFC Fight Pass. So I'll have a few interviews and videos from that. Check that out on the YouTube channel. Again, make sure you give this video a like. Make sure you give the YouTube channel a subscribe and click that notification bell to know when I have new videos drop. With that, enjoy UFC 301.